Have you ever seen a smile tell an entire story? From the sparkling eyes of 2019 to the forced grin of 2024, Jeff Bezos reveals that the real change doesn't lie in money or power, but in something far deeper: love and the hidden cost of compromise. There are moments in life when a single smile can tell an entire story. In 2019, when Jeff Bezos appeared before the public after his shocking split with Mackenzie Scott, people noticed something different. It wasn't the image of the world's richest billionaire, nor the figure of a man leading the giant e-commerce empire Amazon. Instead, what they saw was a rare Duchenne smile. The kind of smile that science proves only appears when a person is truly happy. His eyes glowed with joy, his face was relaxed, and his smile radiated a sense of peace that millions long for, but few ever achieve. It was a moment that made the world believe that behind all the tense boardroom meetings and massive profit reports, there was still a simple Jeff Bezos, basking in genuine happiness. People admired not just his career, but the radiance that seemed to shine directly from within him. But when time fast forwards to 2024, the same face and the same smile no longer feel the same. Experts in body language point out subtle yet undeniable changes. His eyes no longer match the smile. His facial muscles tighten, and fleeting expressions betray a deeper exhaustion. The smile has become a tool, a carefully crafted mask for public appearances, rather than a sincere reflection of joy. This shift sparks both curiosity and sadness among those who once admired him. What happened to the man once hailed as one of the most brilliant minds on the planet? How could someone who built his career on understanding human behavior lose touch with his own sense of happiness? The answer doesn't lie in Amazon's stock price or in high-profile deals, but in personal upheavals, romantic choices, and the invisible compromises woven into human relationships. Jeff Bezos' smile has become proof of a harsh reality. Even the wealthiest person alive cannot escape the subtle cracks in the psyche brought by love, ambition, and the pressure of appearances. And in the slow fading of that genuine smile, people no longer just see the story of Bezos, they see a reflection of themselves. In January 2019, the world was shaken when Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott announced their divorce after 25 years together. This was not just an event in high society, it was the largest divorce settlement in human history. The staggering figure of $38 billion, a fortune Bezos agreed to part with, stunned both the financial world and the media. But what truly gave weight to the story was not the money itself, but how the two chose to walk through this turning point. There were no bitter legal battles, no public feuds, none of the messy courtroom drama so often associated with the ultra-wealthy. Instead, Bezos quietly let go, surrendering a quarter of Amazon, the empire he had spent nearly his entire life building. That silence made people wonder, why would a man so sharp, so accustomed to cutthroat business wars, choose such a quiet retreat? The answer began to reveal itself when Mackenzie Scott stepped into the spotlight with decisions that surprised everyone. She didn't dive into lavish spending, didn't flaunt million-dollar yachts or glittering collections of supercars. Instead, she chose a path entirely opposite, giving away billions of dollars to charities, education, and vulnerable communities. In just a few years, Mackenzie donated more than $1.19 billion. Each contribution was more than just financial support. It was a silent declaration that true happiness lies in placing values and purpose above wealth. While Mackenzie was celebrated as the most generous woman in the world, Jeff Bezos was left facing a painful contrast. The man who once mastered consumer behavior to build Amazon suddenly found himself outside a different kind of intelligence, the intelligence of empathy and humanity. Mackenzie's actions revealed to the world that sometimes the most effective investments are not in assets, but in human values and community. For Jeff, this was not just the loss of fortune, it was a mirror reflecting the sharp divide in priorities. On one side was quiet dedication to the greater good, and on the other, the relentless pursuit of power and image. This contrast made his 2019 smile even more symbolic, a fleeting mask that barely concealed the cracks spreading beneath the surface. The divorce marked not only the end of a marriage, but the beginning of two entirely different journeys. Mackenzie moved toward the light of generosity and purpose, while Jeff entered a new chapter, where love, ambition, and spectacle would test the very essence of who he was. And from this point onward, the transformation of his smile began to reveal layers of drama few could have anticipated. After the storm of his historic divorce, the world expected Jeff Bezos to retreat into the high walls of Amazon, living quietly away from the spotlight. But then, a name surfaced that neither the media nor the public could ignore: Lauren Sanchez. A former television anchor and helicopter pilot with striking beauty and undeniable allure, she became the spark that ignited an entirely new chapter in the billionaire's life. In the early days of their relationship, Lauren surprised both Bezos and the world. She rejected extravagant gifts and even insisted on splitting the bill when dining out. For Bezos, accustomed to flattery and transactional relationships, her straightforwardness felt like a breath of fresh air. To Jeff, she was not just a new partner, but seemingly someone who truly saw him, not as the richest man alive, but simply as Jeff. Paparazzi photos taken in early 2019 lit up the tabloids. The Duchenne smile, the authentic smile once thought lost, returned to Bezos' face. He laughed more, his eyes sparkled, and his posture seemed relaxed in a way that only comes with genuine joy. Media outlets rushed to crown them the new power couple of the world. Vanity Fair, Society columns, and entertainment magazines endlessly praised their chemistry and charm. Yet behind the flashbulbs and sensational headlines, lingering questions stirred curiosity. Was this truly love, or merely an illusion fueled by novelty, attraction, and circumstance? Could a woman who once declared independence from luxury maintain that stance in a relationship with the wealthiest man on earth? And that is precisely what made their story so fascinating. The public didn't just watch them as lovers, they followed them as if they were characters in a psychological drama. Every smile, every hand held in front of cameras sparked speculation. Had Jeff Bezos finally found what money could never buy, true love? Or was this just the opening act of a far more complicated narrative, where subtle shifts would eventually reveal the hidden cost of glamorous happiness? In those moments, the world stood before a mystery yet unsolved. And it was that very mystery, the uncertainty, the duality, that transformed Jeff and Lauren's romance into more than a private relationship. It became a global spectacle, a story dripping with allure, curiosity, and the promise of unfolding drama. In the beginning, Lauren Sanchez seemed like a woman set apart. She rejected lavish gifts, asserted her independence, and made Jeff Bezos believe he had found a relationship built on authenticity rather than wealth. But like water slowly heating in an invisible pot, change began creeping in quietly, so gradually that almost no one could notice it at first. At the start, it was just small things: a designer handbag, a short luxury getaway, harmless gestures that appeared insignificant. Yet, over time, the gifts became more extravagant, the requests more refined, but unmistakable. Lauren, who once dismissed extravagance, now began to embrace and enjoy it. Plastic surgeons started commenting on the transformations in her appearance, estimating costs ranging from $500,000 to several $1,000,000. This shift was not simply about material indulgence. It was a signal of psychological movement. Much like the famous boiling frog effect, if you drop a frog into boiling water, it will jump out instantly. But place it in cool water and raise the heat gradually, and it won't sense the danger until it's too late. Jeff Bezos, the man who mastered reading human behavior in business, appeared to fall into that very trap in his personal life. Lauren's independence in the early days made Jeff feel respected, even seen. But those small, incremental changes slowly reshaped the balance of power in their relationship. The erosion was silent, almost invisible. Every gift, every indulgence, seemingly harmless, was in fact paving the way for subtle dependence. What made the story even more dramatic was its public facade. To the cameras, they were still the radiant, powerful couple, basking in a glow of happiness. Yet beneath the glitz, subtle signals emerged: Jeff's tired eyes, Lauren's increasingly altered appearance. Together, they painted a very different picture, a picture few dared to articulate. And that is what fueled the world's curiosity. If in the business arena, Jeff Bezos had always been able to spot trends before they became obvious, how could he fail to see that the water was heating up in his own life? Was he blinded by the intoxication of love, or was he deliberately ignoring the quiet changes unfolding around him? There was no immediate answer. But it was precisely this ambiguity, tense, suggestive, and unresolved, that turned this chapter into the psychological pivot of the entire story. A point where the smile began turning into a mask, and love started carrying within it the seeds of comper Jeff Bezos, the man who built Amazon on long-term vision and careful planning, initially wanted a private, intimate wedding with only close family and friends. To him, the ceremony was meant to honor love, not to put on a show. Yet Lauren Sanchez envisioned something entirely different, a lavish 3-day spectacle in Venice, Italy, with an estimated cost of $76 million. And when that vision became reality, the world watched, not with admiration, but with heated debate. From the guest list of around 200 star-studded names, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, to the 27 dazzling outfits Lauren wore throughout the celebration, every detail was crafted as if for a grand stage production. Fashion experts estimated that her wardrobe alone exceeded $2 million. Social media erupted, and the press dissected every element, from the floral arrangements and gourmet menus to the live performances. Venice, the city of romance, was transformed into a global stage for the billionaire's marriage. But behind the glamour came a chorus of outrage. Venetians protested as their city was effectively shut down to accommodate the wedding's security demands. Water taxis were rerouted, entire neighborhoods restricted, and locals felt displaced within their own city. Protest banners appeared, accusing the couple's opulence of burdening the community rather than celebrating love. Even within Amazon, the reaction was grim. At a time when the company was laying off 18,000 employees to cut costs, the image of its founder spending $76 million on a wedding became a symbol of disconnect and privilege. Internal message boards filled with biting comments. "We're losing our jobs while he throws the wedding of the century." Under mounting public pressure, Jeff was forced to donate millions to Venetian cultural organizations in an attempt to ease the backlash. Yet even this gesture could not erase the cracks in his public image. The wedding, instead of being remembered as a monument to love, was now seen as proof of extravagance and the widening gap between Bezos' values and those of the world around him. It marked a turning point. A man once devoted to privacy and meaning was swept into a colossal social performance. And while Lauren shone as the star of the event, Jeff seemed to awaken to an unsettling truth: that genuine happiness cannot be measured by the millions spent nor purchased with the applause of the public. As the fireworks of the Venice wedding faded, subtle yet unmistakable changes began to appear on Jeff Bezos' face. In the early years with Lauren, he often displayed the rare Duchenne smile, a genuine smile that radiated from the heart, lighting up his eyes and illuminating his entire expression. But by 2022 and 2023, those authentic expressions had all but vanished. In their place came what psychologists call the social smile, a smile meant for the cameras, not one born from inner joy. Body language experts quickly noticed the shift. Jeff's eyes no longer aligned with his smile. His posture grew stiffer. Fleeting micro-expressions revealed a suppressed tension, as if he were carrying an invisible burden. Each public appearance seemed less like a natural display of happiness and more like a carefully choreographed performance, balancing charm with unease. Meanwhile, the contrast grew sharper. Lauren appeared increasingly confident and dazzling, her transformed appearance and fashion choices cementing her as the center of attention, a symbol of ambition and display. In stark opposition, Jeff seemed to withdraw, his gaze heavier, his smile more forced with every passing year. This was not merely the story of a billionaire exhausted by public life. It was a reflection of a harsher truth. Relationships built on external drivers, status, image, recognition, inevitably carve out emptiness within. And that emptiness cannot be filled, not by wealth, nor by power. Jeff's smile, once a symbol of true happiness, had become a mask. A carefully polished mask, crafted to soothe the media and the public, yet concealing the silent ache of compromise. And within that mask, the world no longer saw a free Jeff Bezos, but a man bound by choices that had reshaped not only his private life, but the very essence of his happiness.